Elaine, we're restructuring your position. Travis Bolton sat across from me in the small conference room, his fingers drumming against the table. Behind him, through the glass wall, I could see someone waiting in the hallway, a younger woman holding a folder, her posture eager. My replacement. After 6 years of managing the logistics department at Parkside Manufacturing, I was being erased like a pencil mark. Travis slid a thin envelope across the table. Inside was my severance package, barely half of what my hearing contract promised. "You have until 3 o'clock to clear your desk," he said, already standing. I wanted to argue, to demand answers, but the words stuck in my throat like broken glass. I carried my box through the warehouse floor, past machines I'd helped optimize, past coworkers who suddenly found their shoes fascinating. My phone buzzed in my pocket, Marcus calling. My younger brother. Finally, someone who'd understand. He didn't answer. When I reached the parking lot, I saw his truck parked near mine. He'd come to borrow my car for a date tonight. I called again. Nothing. Then I heard it, laughter echoing from the break room windows. Deep, familiar laughter that made my stomach drop. I walked back inside and found Marcus leaning against the vending machine, surrounded by my former coworkers, grinning like he'd just heard the funniest joke of his life. "Did you seriously get fired?" Marcus asked, wiping tears from his eyes. "You, Miss Perfect." The break room went silent. 10 pairs of eyes watched me clutch my cardboard box tighter. "It's a restructuring," I whispered. "Sure it is," he smirked, pulling out his phone. "Mom's gonna love this. Her golden child finally screwed up." I turned and walked out before anyone could see me cry. Sitting in my car, hands shaking on the steering wheel, I watched Marcus stroll out 20 minutes later, still chuckling. My phone buzzed, a text from him, a meme about failure with the caption, "Thinking of you, sis." Then a voicemail notification appeared, unknown number. "Ms. Porter, this is Marion Holt from Caldwell Industries. We received your resume last month and have an opening we think you'd be perfect for. Please call me back." I listened to it 3 times, certain I'd misheard. Caldwell Industries was Parkside's biggest competitor, a company twice our size with an actual HR department and employee benefits that didn't expire after one doctor's visit. The next morning, I sat in Marion's office, a bright space with windows overlooking the production floor. She asked thoughtful questions about my process improvements, nodded at my answers, actually listened. "We'd like to offer you a contract position," she said. 3 months with potential for permanent hire." I almost cried with relief. I didn't tell Marcus about Caldwell. I didn't tell Mom either, not after she'd called me that night asking if I'd done something wrong to get fired. The doubt in her voice cut deeper than Travis's dismissal. Instead, I buried myself in work. Caldwell's systems were outdated but fixable. I spent late nights rebuilding their inventory tracking, color-coding spreadsheets until my eyes blurred. 2 weeks in, I was reviewing the morning schedule when Vanessa from HR stopped by my desk. "Hey, we've got another applicant from your hometown," she said casually. "Last name Porter, any relation?" My coffee cup froze halfway to my lips. "My brother," I managed. "Small world," Vanessa laughed, walking away. No. I watched from the second-floor window as Marcus strutted into the lobby for his interview. He wore the suit I'd helped him pick out for his last job, the one he'd quit after 3 months because his boss was too demanding. He laughed loudly with the receptionist, leaned back in his chair like he owned the place. Confidence radiated off him like cologne, too much, too strong. I hid in the supply closet when he walked past. An hour later, Vanessa found me at my desk. "Your brother's hired," she said. "Starts Monday in warehouse operations." My stomach twisted into knots. That fast. "He was charming, made everyone laugh," she smiled. "Must run in the family." Marcus saw me on his 3rd day. I was carrying files to the production floor when I heard his voice behind me. "What the hell are you doing here?" I turned slowly. His face had gone from surprise to red to something darker. I work here, I said quietly. You followed me. His voice rose, drawing stares. I get a fresh start, and you have to embarrass yourself by showing up like some pathetic. I've been here for 2 weeks, I interrupted. That stopped him. His jaw worked silently for a moment. Then you need to tell HR I'm management material, he finally said. Put in a good word. You owe me that much. I walked away without answering. The email from Travis arrived 3 days later. Subject: intellectual property violation. He accused me of stealing proprietary processes and selling them to Caldwell. The language was threatening, almost frantic. I forwarded it immediately to Marion, my hands trembling. She called me into her office within the hour. Travis Bolton has been contacting several of our staff, she said calmly. Apparently, he's been losing people since his restructuring. This is desperation, not evidence. Will it affect my position? I asked. No, her voice was firm. But it tells me something about your old workplace, and nothing good about Mr. Bolton. I breathed again. Marcus struggled from day one. I didn't interfere, didn't help, didn't even acknowledge him beyond polite nods. But I noticed things. Shipments logged to the wrong locations. Equipment left running overnight. His supervisor, Dan, asking him to redo basic inventory counts 3 times in 1 week. Your brother giving you trouble, Dan asked me one afternoon. We're not close, I said. Dan nodded slowly. HR's already flagged him for attitude issues. Keeps blaming the scanners, the system, everyone but himself. I focused on my computer screen and said nothing. But a small, bitter part of me felt something like satisfaction. Mom called on a Thursday evening, her voice tight with accusation. Marcus says you're blocking him from promotions, that you told lies to your boss about him. I sat down hard on my couch. What? He said you're jealous that he got hired so easily, that you're trying to sabotage him because you got fired and he didn't. Mom, I got hired before him. I didn't even know he'd applied. That's not what he told me, her voice cracked. Why are you doing this to your own brother, Elaine? We raised you better. She hung up before I could defend myself. I stared at my phone, tears blurring the screen. My family believed him. Of course they did. Marcus had always been the charming one, the one who could spin any story. The following Monday, I presented my inventory optimization plan to Caldwell's leadership team. I'd spent 3 weeks analyzing workflow patterns, identifying bottlenecks, redesigning the receiving process. My hands shook as I clicked through slides, but my voice stayed steady. When I finished, the room was quiet. Then Marion smiled. This could save us $70,000 annually. The CFO leaned forward. When can we implement it? Immediately, I said. After the meeting, Marion pulled me aside. We're adding you to the contract bid team. Parkside Manufacturing is competing against us for the Westfield account. We need your expertise. My old company, Travis Bolton's company. I nodded slowly. I'll do my best. I spent evenings reviewing publicly available documents about Parkside, financial reports, capacity statements, client testimonials. Something felt wrong, like numbers that didn't quite add up on a balance sheet. Then I found it. Parkside's submitted capacity report claimed they could handle 300 units per day. But I'd run that floor for 6 years. Our maximum, even with overtime, was 220. They'd overstated their capacity by nearly 30%. I documented everything carefully, citing only public sources. No insider information, nothing Travis could use against me. But this was evidence of serious misrepresentation. I sent my findings to Marion with shaking hands. Marcus cornered me in the parking lot after my shift. You're on some big project team now. His voice was desperate, not angry. Elaine, I need you to put in a good word for me. Tell them I'm qualified for supervisor roles. Marcus, I don't interfere with HR decisions. Please, he grabbed my arm. I'm drowning here. This job was supposed to be easy, and everyone's treating me like I'm incompetent. I pulled away gently. Maybe you need to prove yourself first. I would if you weren't sabotaging me, the anger returned. Everyone here loves you. They probably laugh about me behind my back because you told them I'm useless. I've never said a word about you to anyone. He stared at me, searching for lies. Finding none seemed to make him angrier. Travis called Caldwell's main line 2 days later. I need to warn you about Elaine Porter. His voice crackled through the speakerphone in Marion's office. She was terminated for erratic behavior and poor judgment. Having her on your team is a liability. Marion's expression remained neutral. Mr. Bolton, this call is being recorded. Do you have documentation of these claims? Silence. Then, she knows proprietary information about our operations. Information she gained through 6 years of legitimate employment, which ended with your restructuring decision. Unless you're suggesting you terminated her illegally. More silence. Don't call this number again, Marion said calmly and disconnected. She looked at me. He's scared. Men like that don't lash out unless they're losing control. The contract committee announced a surprise facility tour. They wanted to see both Caldwell and Parkside in action before making their decision. 3 weeks earlier than scheduled. I overheard Marcus talking to Dan, practically begging to be included in tour preparations. I've got experience with this stuff, Marcus insisted. My sister doesn't know everything. Dan's response was firm. The team's already set. Focus on your current responsibilities. Marcus caught me watching. His expression was pure venom. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Travis firing me, heard Marcus laughing, felt the weight of that cardboard box in my arms. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. Panic attack. I called in sick the next morning, ashamed and exhausted. By noon, there was a knock on my door. Vanessa stood there with soup from the deli downtown and a card signed by my team. We know you're pushing yourself hard, she said gently, but you're allowed to be human, Elaine. I cried then, ugly, gasping sobs I'd been holding back for weeks. The next day, I returned to work. My team had quietly redistributed my tasks, covering for me without complaint. When I tried to apologize, Kyle from shipping just shrugged. You do the same for us, he said simply. And I realized, maybe for the first time, that I'd found something Parkside never gave me. Respect. The contract committee arrived on a Wednesday morning. 4 serious people in business suits, clipboards in hand, questions prepared. The tour was going smoothly until we reached the packaging station. Marcus, who wasn't supposed to be anywhere near this area, suddenly appeared. Let me demonstrate our efficiency process, he announced, stepping in front of Dan. He adjusted a machine setting I knew he shouldn't touch. The conveyor belt lurched, boxes jammed, product scattered across the floor, workers scrambled to shut down the line. I moved without thinking, hitting the emergency stop, redirecting the team to clear the jam. Within 5 minutes, we had it running smoothly again. The committee members exchanged glances. One woman smiled at me. Marcus had vanished. HR called Marcus in that afternoon. I watched him emerge from the office 30 minutes later, his face ashen. He might lose his job. The committee had filed a complaint about the disruption. Later, he waited by my car, his earlier confidence completely gone. Elaine, please, just tell them it wasn't my fault. The machine was already malfunctioning. I can't lie in my report, Marcus. You're really going to let them fire me. I'm going to tell the truth. What happens after that isn't up to me. His expression twisted. You've wanted this from the beginning. Admit it. No, I said quietly. I wanted my brother to support me, but you laughed instead. I got in my car and drove away. My report was factual and neutral. Machine tampering occurred. Emergency protocols were followed. Production resumed with minimal loss. I didn't mention that Marcus was my brother. I didn't have to. HR already knew. 2 days later, Marcus sent me a long, rambling text. It started with accusations, dissolved into excuses, and ended with a plea. Just say you made a mistake in your report, please. I turned off my phone. That night, I wrote a different message to myself in my journal. I'm done being everyone's punching bag. I deserve better than this. It felt like exhaling after holding my breath underwater. Travis submitted Parkside's final bid. The price was shockingly low, 30% under Caldwell's proposal. The committee was impressed. Until they asked for technical documentation, proving Parkside could actually deliver those numbers. Marion asked me to review their submission. My hands trembled as I opened the file. The capacity claims were impossible. The staffing numbers didn't match the workload. The timeline assumed zero equipment downtime. I spent 2 days preparing my analysis. Clinical, data-driven, entirely based on public information and industry standards. I never mentioned my firing, never mentioned Travis, just presented facts. During my presentation, one committee member, an older man named Mr. Harrison, interrupted. "Aren't you the woman Bolton let go suddenly last month?" Everyone turned to look at me. "Yes, sir," I said quietly, "but my analysis stands regardless of my employment history." Mr. Harrison studied me for a long moment. "Actually, that gives your assessment more credibility. You know their operations intimately." He looked at his colleagues. "I think we have our answer." The decision was unanimous. Caldwell won the contract. Parkside Manufacturing lost an account worth millions. Their board scheduled an emergency meeting. During Caldwell's celebration, Marion pulled me aside. "The committee specifically mentioned your integrity during deliberations. They said anyone who presents facts that objectively, even about a former employer, is someone they want to work with." She paused. "We'd like to offer you a permanent position, operations manager, full benefits, immediate start." I accepted before she finished the sentence. Mom called that night, screaming before I even said hello. "Marcus has been suspended. He's going to lose his job because of you." "Mom, I didn't." "You've always been jealous of him. Now you're destroying his career out of spite." Something inside me finally broke. Not shattered, just opened. "I'm done," I said calmly. "I'm done apologizing for being good at my job. I'm done accepting blame for Marcus's choices. And I'm done being everyone's punching bag." "How dare you?" "I love you, Mom, but I won't accept this anymore. When you're ready to hear the truth, call me." I hung up. My hands weren't shaking. My heart wasn't racing. For the first time in months, I felt completely calm. The announcement went public on a Friday. Caldwell Industries awarded the Westfield contract, the largest in company history. The press release specifically mentioned the integrity of our technical team. My name appeared in the second paragraph. Travis Bolton was removed from his position at Parkside. The board cited mismanagement and misrepresentation in their statement. Marcus's suspension became a termination, not because of me, but because HR's investigation found multiple policy violations. I didn't celebrate, I didn't gloat. I went to work, led my team, and focused on the future we were building together. But late that night, alone in my apartment, I allowed myself a small smile. Marcus showed up at my door on a Sunday evening, 2 weeks later. He looked terrible, unshaven, exhausted, 20 pounds lighter. "I'm in debt," he said without preamble. "Real debt, credit cards, car payments. I thought Caldwell would save me, that this job would fix everything." "I know," I said softly. "I blamed you because it was easier than admitting I screwed up. Again." His voice cracked. "I'm sorry, Elaine, for laughing, for everything." I wanted to stay angry. Part of me still was. But he was my brother, and he was finally being honest. "I forgive you," I said, "but I can't get your job back. That's not how this works." "I know," he wiped his eyes. "I'm going back to school, gonna actually finish something for once." "That's good, Marcus, really good." We stood there for a moment, the weight of months settling between us. "Will you tell Mom I'm sorry too?" he asked. "You should tell her yourself." He nodded and turned to leave, then paused. You're doing really well there, aren't you? Yeah, I said. I really am. 6 months later, I stood in the new facility Caldwell built with the Westfield contract. 50,000 square feet of modern equipment, efficient design, and possibilities. My team surrounded me, laughing at Kyle's terrible joke about conveyor belts. Vanessa showed off photos of her new puppy. Dan argued good-naturedly with someone about lunch plans. Marion approached with a photographer. Local business magazine wants a feature on the expansion. They specifically asked for you. I smoothed my blazer, suddenly nervous. You've earned this, Marion said quietly. Every bit of it. The photographer positioned me near the main floor overlook. Behind me, machines hummed steadily, the sound of productivity, of success, of systems I'd helped create. Smile, the photographer said. And I did, a real one. Because I'd learned something important in these 6 months. Revenge wasn't about destroying the people who'd hurt me. It was about building something they said I couldn't. Travis lost his position for his own poor choices. Marcus faced consequences for his own actions. I didn't cause their downfall, I just refused to sink with them. Sometimes the best revenge is simply refusing to fail. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Saw the article announcement. I'm proud of you, sweetheart. I'm sorry I didn't say that sooner. I slipped the phone back in my pocket and looked out over the facility. My facility, my team, my future. The laughter that had once shattered me in a break room now felt like a distant memory, powerless and small. I'd risen from that cardboard box. And I'd risen higher than anyone expected.